Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Disney Does. It's Disney Dwayne here and my special guest, Stevie Graham. Is that how we call you?
You can call me Stevie Graham or just Stevie.
Just Stevie. Alright, Stevie is my friend that knows the most about Star Wars. So we're going to talk this episode about Clone Wars and the finale season that's coming, and of course that's gotten fans really excited because apparently it ended on a cliffhanger of sorts in the 5th season, so this will be the 6th season, right? That's as much as I know. So we're gonna start at the top. So for those of us like myself who's watched Star Wars movies but haven't actually gotten into the anime or the animated series, what can you tell us about it to, first of all, maybe draw us into it, and also to catch us up to speed with what's happening in season 6 without too many spoilers?
I think there were 6 seasons.
Oh, there were already 6 seasons?
I think so.
Okay, so I didn't do my homework there. Okay, so
you're making me doubt myself now.
This is the 7th season then.
To begin with, the seasons, they had titles. They had like season 1 had this overall title.
Okay.
An overall name. And the season kind of followed us kind of a theme.
Alright.
So season 1 was basically about kind of about forming the relationship or the opposing relationship between the Senate, the Galactic Senate,
right,
and the Separatists.
Alright, okay, just to make sure we know where we are in this timeline, Clone Wars happened within the time span of movies 2 and 3, right?
2 and 3.
That's right. So between episodes 2 and 3 is
Yes.
where Clone Wars exists as a series.
Yes.
Alright, so season 1?
Well, I mean, I can't give you too much details about the stories because there's so many stories. There's
Right,
so
but
many
we do
arcs.
follow Anakin Skywalker, right?
We follow Anakin, we follow Obi-Wan Kenobi, we follow Yoda, we follow many people. And there's new characters, obviously, that are obviously canon. New characters which are introduced, like Ahsoka.
Right.
Ahsoka is very cool. She was one of the characters that was introduced who became very popular.
Yeah, I know.
You know, very popular. And she's got a novel, it's a new book as well. It's out.
Oh wow.
So you can.
Alright, now how about season 2 then? What happens?
Well,
so
let me give you a kind of short answer.
Okay.
So basically, season 1, season 2, and I think 3. The stories are a bit more linear. They're a bit more. There's more of a theme throughout the season. As Clone Wars progressed, the stories became, the episodes became a bit more standalone. Sometimes you get 2 or 3 episodes it was like a continuous story.
Right.
But basically Clone Wars became a bit more, there's a story here, then there was an unrelated story there.
Quite episodic from season 4 onwards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going by memory, I think
Right.
it was season 4 onwards that they...
Okay.
Yeah. It became more smaller stories, just pieced together.
But they're all based off Clone Wars.
They all revolved around the Clone Wars, yeah.
I see.
Absolutely.
But you can't tell us any more in terms of what happens, like just a bit of, like just a sentence, season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's very hard to kind of pinpoint it in a sentence.
Right.
It's just a progression of the Clone Wars, because the Clone Wars themselves wasn't actually documented in the movies.
Right.
Episode 2 finishes at the beginning of the Clone Wars.
Right.
And episode 3 is basically the climax of that.
Right.
So there's nothing in between to fill any gaps. So basically you've got a whole bunch of stories. Some of them are standalone stories that mean nothing.
Right.
2 or 3 episodes, something happens, like an adventure.
Right. And I'm sure we find out a lot about Ahsoka and her life and everything, right? Like, I'm sure that
Yeah,
a lot
we
of other
do.
character
We
comes
find
up.
out a lot about Ahsoka and her relationship with Anakin as well.
Right.
And I think the best thing I can tell you about Clone Wars is the character development.
Okay.
Okay, it's not. I mean, yeah, the stories are great. But it's about the characters. You learn so much more about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
You learn so much more about Anakin. That goes without saying.
Right.
You learn so much more about Palpatine as well.
Right.
And
Wow.
some of the things he was putting in place before Order 66 as well.
Right.
So that's the best thing about Clone Wars.
And does Anakin get more and more evil towards the end of the series? Do they try to, that chart that journey? Because between episodes 2 and 3 is, basically he kind of falls in episode 3.
Yeah,
and becomes Darth Vader, right?
It's harsh to say he becomes more evil. But you see, you of course you see little bits of his personality coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Little hints of anger and frustration, and just little things which are hinted in the movies as well. But then you see the other side of Anakin, the more human side, which in the movies you don't see very well, because Anakin's character in the movies wasn't, in my opinion, wasn't that best portrayed. You never got to see him as a complete opposite of Darth Vader, for example.
Right. Is he a father already at that point?
No.
How about his relationship?
Well, okay, so basically, yeah, you do get to see more about Anakin's relationship with Padme.
Nice.
Obviously, their marriage is a secret.
Yes.
So that's not easy. But what I was going to say before was that you get to see a lot more of Anakin's more human and good-natured side through his relationship with Ahsoka.
Right.
Because I don't know if you knew this, but Anakin is Ahsoka's mentor. She's his
yeah, I was wondering
apprentice.
why there's another female, does Padme ever get jealous, because they're so close, I'm always wondering who this female character was. So he's her mentor.
Well, yeah, I mean, she is his apprentice.
Right. Question, where does she end up then in episode 3? Why is she not in episode 3 in the movie?
That is a question that has not been answered yet.
So we will see, probably. So this is one of the things to look out for in, I think, the season finale. They might explain that.
Hello, Master. It's been a while.
Her disappearance, probably.
If I could jump ahead,
Mm-hmm.
we see there's a story that goes along where Ahsoka is accused of something. And the Jedi side with the accusers. So basically the Jedi don't side with her, they don't back her.
Right.
So she loses faith in the Jedi. So she walks away from the Jedi Order.
Right.
She basically says, I'm no longer a Jedi.
Wow.
And she walks away. And that was the last we saw of Ahsoka.
Okay.
And that was at the very end. And that was right at the end of the season.
So that might be a spoiler, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert. But we know already through the novel and through canon that
I see.
That Ahsoka, she has a bigger story to tell.
Right.
And after she leaves the Jedi.
Right.
And we know already she's in Rebels.
Right. So while we're here, what are you most looking forward to this season that without giving too much away, that hasn't been answered, or because if the season stopped, that would leave you pretty unhappy, right?
Well, everyone was unhappy
complete?
when it ended because because we had at least 2 more seasons still to go. If you go into StarWars.com, you can actually watch the unfinished footage of season 7 and 8. It's very basic.
But now it's only season 7, so they're squishing all of that into season 1 season.
Well,
is that what's happening?
Well, I'm not sure how many seasons there's going to be.
They say final season, right? So it has to be 1 more. Right?
Well, what they might do is they might take everything that they had planned and they might squeeze it into 1.
Right.
But it's not. I mean, we have that season 7 and 8. It was planned out. It was storyboarded.
Right.
And
wow.
They began animating the season 7. But the thing is, because we've had Rebels.
Yeah.
And this is what Dave Filoni, he's a director.
Right.
An anime director.
But by the way, Rebels is between episode 3 and 4.
Yes, we should mention that.
So that shouldn't technically affect. You're trying to say
it
something.
Is affected.
It is affected.
Well,
okay.
because we've got characters that are in both.
Ah, okay.
And this is the thing. This is what Dave Filoni said. When they made clones, each character was in their character arc moving forward in time.
Right.
But then they've leapt forward to Rebels, and you've got these same characters. You've got Ahsoka in there.
Right.
You've got Rex, who is one of the clones.
So she definitely doesn't die.
No.
So her appearance not being in episode 3 is, I guess that's still unexplained.
That's kind of unexplained, but we do know that she's not a Jedi, so it can be explained that she's simply she's not involved.
Got it.
But and there's some of the clone troopers They're heavily involved in the Clone Wars. Like we followed the story from Rex as one of them.
Right.
And these guys were in Rebels as well.
Right.
So what Dave Filoni was saying, that these characters, because they've been in Rebels, and now they're going back to finish Clones,
Right.
now they've got to look retrospectively. They've got to go
Right,
backwards and think, okay, now we've got this character in the future.
Right.
So they've got to link it back and say, okay, so how did he become that character?
Right. Because Rebels, by the way, has concluded in its 4th season already.
Yes.
So, right.
So now so when they do the new season of Clones, they're going to have to look at Ahsoka and think, okay, how did she become the Ahsoka in Rebels?
Right. Interesting.
Because, you know, it's different.
Was Anakin in Rebels? Or rather, by then he would be Darth Vader.
Technically he was, because he is Darth Vader.
Right. Was there anything else you looked up for this interview? You were saying like we're going to do a little bit more research, add a little bit more trivia or something. Was there anything else?
You know, the interesting thing is that we've got a character, which is Rex. Basically, we've got a bit of trivia here that I can tell you about. Rex.
The name's Rex, but you'll call me Captain or Sir. War does not come with a guarantee. No soldier gets the promise of safety.
Who is... He's in the Clone Wars. He's in Rebels. He's going to be in the new season of Clone Wars.
And he's your favourite character.
He's one of my favourite characters. Everyone in the Clone Wars that watches the Clone Wars loves him. He's a good character. He's a good egg. He's a good guy. He's a hero. And there's this scene in Return of the Jedi when it's on the moon of Endor, and the rebels are trying to capture this kind of imperial kind of base. It's basically the shield generator for the second Death Star.
Okay.
And there's just this scene when Han Solo taps the shoulder of a stormtrooper, and then stormtrooper looks, and Han Solo runs the other way.
Right.
And the stormtrooper chases after him. And when the stormtrooper gets around the corner, these soldiers, all rebel soldiers, are waiting, and there's one character, and he's really old, and he's got a big beard. And they recently made him to be Rex.
Oh.
So that's like,
wow.
Some people don't know that, but that was canon now. So it's canon now.
Awesome.
He's Rex.
Awesome.
But for years and years and years, he was just an extra.
Right. That's
know?
so awesome.
But by making this Clone Wars...
I mean, like, Boba Fett is kind of one of those, like, underdogs that kind of, like, just appeared but then became so popular just because he was so cool looking, right?
He was so cool and mysterious.
Yeah.
And so they took him, and
Yeah, exactly.
when they did in the prequels, they had his father.
Right.
And that they kind of expanded his story.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
pretty
just
much
think
it.
it's great when you watch Return of the Jedi and you see this random character, this random
Yeah.
actor. For it's 1 second on screen.
Yeah. And
This
now,
old Rebel Alliance soldier, and it turns out it's Rex.
cool. That's a great Easter egg. Thanks for that. And you know, just now wrapping it up and looking forward in terms of, you know, there's probably not going to be another animated series. I don't know, because the next thing that they announced was the live action Star
Yes.
Wars series that's going to be directed by Jon Favreau. So that's very exciting, and that's going to be between episodes. You'd know better, right?
Well, 6 and 7, isn't it?
It's between episodes 6 and 7. Right.
I
I don't
think
know.
so.
I don't know.
I think
It
it's
is
going to be set before
6 and 7.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so that's really something to look forward to, and I'm assuming that both of these, like Clone Wars, which we know for sure, the Clone Wars last season is going to be on the new Disney streaming service, so that's the only thing the only place you're going to get it, and as well as this new live action. The Star Wars movie, as we know, the news is that Disney's not going to have the rights to play that on their service just yet, unless they buy it over for a lot of money, because another company holds the rights right now.
Yes.
So all good things that we're looking forward to. Do you think there'll be an animated series though?
I don't know about the immediate future, but I think it's safe to say that Rebels was a huge success.
All right.
It seems the people involved in making Rebels and Clone
Right.
Wars are pretty talented. They're
Yeah.
pretty high thought of
Right.
by Star Wars fans, I think, as well.
So just shout out here to my country. It is National Day today. I'm not even in Singapore now.
Oh,
I'm in
yeah,
Hong
yeah, of
Kong here
course.
with Stevie, and it's great. I mean, it's a nice hotel. They lovely people have lent us their meeting room at Mini Hotel, Causeway Bay. So stopping by, just a bit of plug there. But yeah, Singapore is responsible. I think the Lucasfilm in Singapore, I think, is responsible for the animated production in many ways.
Sandcrawler.
Sandcrawler, yeah.
Sandcrawler.
You went there, right? Took you there.
I went there, yeah, the Sandcrawler.
The Sandcrawler building. So Little known
It's the
fact.
shape of a sandcrawler.
Exactly.
That's how cool it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you didn't know this, it's not in the tour books. It's not in many places. But if you go to
And
Singapore, visit the Sandcrawler
The
building.
statue as well.
Statue of the Yoda, the fountain, which
Yes.
is similar to the one in San Francisco.
Yes.
And I live 5 minutes away from there. It's crazy. All right. So anyway, thanks so much, Stevie, for coming on board.
Oh, my pleasure.
We'll hope to talk to you more about. I mean, Star Wars never ends, right? But more Star Wars things to come. The only sad thing, just a little bit more to touch on is that Han Solo didn't do very well. So I think, in terms of these standalone movies, Disney's looking at not just churning them out so much, because there was supposed to be an Obi-Wan and a Boba Fett one that they were talking about, but
A lot of it's hearsay and rumours. I mean,
so now we're not sure now. Everything's on hold from what I
the
understand.
thing is though, I don't think the fans were really crying out for a Han Solo movie.
Right. Oh,
We are
but-
all crying out for an
okay.
Obi-Wan Kenobi movie.
Right, hear that, Disney? So
You know?
maybe.
Even Ewan McGregor wants to do it.
Right. A Boba Fett one? Not so much. An Obi-Wan then.
We
Obi-Wan
touched
then.
upon why Boba Fett was so popular. He's popular because he's so mysterious.
Right.
I feel like a movie of this is my
I
opinion
see.
again. I feel like a movie of him would take away that.
Right.
Would take that away, and
Right.
just make him a regular character.
Obviously, so
know?
much to talk about. So
Less
we'll-
is more when it comes to Boba Fett.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have Stevie back at some point if we can manage that.
Maybe.
But for now, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Also, catch other Disney videos on the channel. Bye.
Bye. Is that okay?
I'm gonna push this back. That's generally okay.
I thought my head's getting cut off there.